Morning students. Yesterday we started the chapter balance of payments, and that chapter we started the components of the balance of payments account. So all transactions in the BOP can be grouped into two main accounts. First one is the current account, which we have already discussed. Current account refers to an account which records exports and the imports of goods and services and the unilateral transfers during a given period of time. After the current account and its components, now we are going to start with the second account, that is capital account. Now the second type of the account is the capital account. First of all, understand the meaning of the capital account. Capital account of balance of payments records all such transactions between the residents of a country and rest of the world which causes change in the assets and the liabilities of the residents of the country or its government. That means this account records all those transactions which increases or decreases the assets or the liability status of the residents of the country or its government. Now, after the definition, now let's start the components of the capital account. Now, the first components of the capital account is investment. Investment from rest of the world in shares of the Indian companies, or maybe in the real estates, are recorded as a credit. They are recorded as a credit or positive because they lead to inflow of the foreign exchange. That means from rest of the world, if anyone is investing the money in the Indian companies or in the real estate, so everything will increase the inflow of the foreign exchange in our country, so it will recorded as a credit. And investment by the Indian residents, like in the shares of the foreign companies, in the real estates, or maybe in other things, so they all are recorded as a debit, negative, because they lead to outflow of the foreign exchange. Now, investment may be direct or portfolio. So there are the two types of the investment. First of all is FDI, foreign direct investment. Now understand the meaning of the foreign direct investment. It refers to purchase of assets in abroad along with the power to control them. Or in other words, I can say, like, it is the act of purchasing an asset at the same time acquiring control of it. Example, like purchase of a firm by Reliance Group in the USA. Like in USA, if the firm is purchased by the Reliance Group, so that means they are purchasing the asset as well as they are acquiring the control over the firm also. Another example, purchase of the land. Obviously, if we have done the investment in the land, so we have the full control over the land also, or other things also, etc. Now the second type of the investment. Now the second one is the portfolio. Portfolio, that means it refers to purchase of assets in abroad but without any direct control over them. Whereas in the FDI we have a full power to control them, but in the portfolio investment we can purchase the assets in the abroad but without any direct control over them. Or maybe it is the acquisition of an asset that does not give the purchaser control over the asset. Like example, purchase of shares or bonds of a company in country US by the residents of India, or maybe purchase of the shares of the foreign company by the Reliance Group. So they have the control over the shares but not on the Reliance company. Now the second component of the capital account is the borrowing and the lending. Now all the borrowings from rest of the world or abroad by private sector like individuals or another one, the government, and the repayment of the loan by the foreigners are recorded as a credit because these leads to inflow of the foreign exchange. That means if we are doing the borrowing, if the government is borrowing, or if the private institutions or the individuals or the private sectors are borrowing from rest of the world, or maybe the repayment of the loan by the foreigners, everything will be recorded in the balance of payment in the credit side because it leads to the inflow of the foreign exchange. Similarly, lending all the lendings to abroad by the private sector, government, and the repayment of loan to abroad all will be recorded as a debits negative because these leads to outflow of the foreign exchange. Like example, we can take Indian government. If Indian government borrows the money from IMF or maybe from World Bank or from any other country, so these are included in the credit because this leads to inflow of the foreign exchange. Similarly, investment by an individual of a country A in the country B. Now, the third and the last component of the capital account is change in the foreign exchange reserves or official reserve transactions. Now, first of all, understand the meaning of the official reserve transactions. The transactions carried on by the monetary authority of a country which causes change in the official reserves are termed as a official reserves transactions. Like autonomous receipts and the autonomous payments give rise to the either deficit or the surplus on the balance of payments. See, autonomous receipts and the autonomous payments I will discuss later on after this topic. The difference between the autonomous and accommodating items I'll explain you. But because of the autonomous receipts and the autonomous payments, always there is a situation of a deficit or surplus in the balance of payment. So whatever the changes takes place in the balance of payment due to the autonomous receipts and the autonomous payments, it will be balanced by the monetary authority. Now, in such a situation, what the central bank do, maybe if there is a deficit, so the central bank may finance a deficit first by reducing the reserves of the foreign currency or by borrowing from the IMF or from any monetary authorities. And if there is any surplus of the balance of payments, so the central bank may use surplus to purchase the foreign securities, foreign currency, gold, etc. So which may result in the increase in the reserve of the nation. So the foreign exchange reserves are the financial assets of the government held by the central bank of the country. So any withdrawal from the foreign exchange reserve is recorded on the credit side of the balance of payment because it leads to the decrease in the foreign financial assets. Similarly, any addition in the foreign exchange reserve is recorded as a debit side of the balance of payment as this leads to the increase in the foreign financial assets. So now after the components of the capital accounts, now the balance on capital account. In the capital account, borrowings from the foreigners and direct investment by foreigners represent capital inflows. Capital inflows, so they are positive items. Or the credits because they are the receipts from the foreigners. Similarly, on the other hand, lending to rest of the world and the direct investment in rest of the world, it represents outflows and they are negative items or the debits because they are the payments to foreigners. So the net value of these credits and the debits is the balance on capital account. Now the last topic of this chapter is the difference between autonomous items and the accommodating items. First of all, we will understand the meaning of the autonomous items and the accommodating items. Autonomous items or the transactions refers to those international economic transactions which are done for some economic motives or the economic considerations such as profit maximization. That means these are the items which are usually these transactions are done for the profit motive, and because of the autonomous items only, the balance of payment sometimes it be in the surplus mode or sometimes it is in the deficit. So just to compensate the deficit or the surplus BOP, the monetary authority used accommodating items. So now understand the meaning of accommodating items. Accommodating items or the transactions refer to those transactions which are undertaken to cover the deficit or surplus in the BOP their magnitude is determined by the autonomous transactions. That means autonomous items, their main motive is to earn the profit, and because of these items only, in the balance of payment, deficit and the surplus situation arises, and such accommodating items are always entered in the BOP just to compensate, just to cover the deficit or the surplus, and this deficit and surplus situation always arises due to the autonomous situation. So the magnitude of the accommodating items, it's totally depend upon the situation of the autonomous item. If there is deficit and surplus, then only the accommodating items will enter in the BOP status, otherwise there is no need, and their main motive is not to earn the profit, their main motive is to balance the payment, whereas the autonomous items, their main motive is to earn the profit. Second is the account. Autonomous items take place on both current account and the capital account, whereas accommodating items always take place only in the capital account, because capital accounts includes all those transactions which affect to the assets or the liabilities of the country, and or in the autonomous items, visible, invisible trade, the transactions which can affect to the assets and the liabilities of the country, everything is included. But whenever there is a deficit and surplus, then only we can enter the accommodating items. So no visible and invisible item will be entered, only the capital account components will be entered by the monetary authority. Third, relation with the state of BOP. Yes, these transactions are independent of the state of the BOPs or not related to establish the BOP identity. That means autonomous items, their main motive is not to enter into the balance of payments. They are totally independent, because these transactions are done for the profit motive, whereas the accommodating items, they are properly dependent, they are related to establish the BOP identity. Their main motive is to come in the BOP just to cover the deficit and surplus, whereas these items are totally free from the deficit and the surplus situation. Their main motive is to earn only profit, whereas accommodating items, their main motive is to do the balance. Whenever there is a disequilibrium in the autonomous items, these accommodating items always enter in the BOP to balance it. Alternative name. Yes, autonomous items are also known as above the line items. That means these items entered first of all in the balance of payments, and when there is a deficit and the surplus situation arises, then we enter the accommodating items. So that is why these items are called below the line items. Now, examples of the autonomous items: exports, imports, receipts, and the payments of the long-term loans by the private individuals. Whereas accommodating items, because here the RBI uses its tools, so use of the foreign exchange reserves, borrowings by the government from IMF or any foreign monetary authorities are going to be used as accommodating items by the monetary authority of the country. So this is the difference between autonomous items and accommodating items. Exactly, the deficit and the surplus in the BOP always arises due to the autonomous items, and the balance can be done by inserting the accommodating items.